I am. We are. This
I
is
am Norwood. I'm pleased
Norwood.
today to have joining us Muriel Straub, perhaps Norwood's oldest resident and a living legend here in town. I first met Mrs. Straub probably about 4 years ago when she would have been a wee lass of 101 years old, and when I was on the campaign trail. And I welcome the opportunity today to learn a little bit about her and her family's long history in town here. Muriel, good afternoon. Welcome.
I say good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, thank you for coming on. Tell us when you arrived in Norwood. What year was that, or how old were you?
It was West Norwood. There's a big difference. And I was
Okay.
7 years old.
What can you tell me about West Norwood at that time?
West Norwood, we had our own post office and we had a nice butcher shop and a grocery store. Everything was perfect. It was a nice little town.
What street were the butcher shop and grocery store on?
Broad Avenue.
What was it?
Broad Avenue.
Broad Avenue?
Yes.
Broad
Okay.
Avenue was the stores, and we lived on Belden Place.
Excellent. I'm familiar with that street. How long did you live there?
Until I was about 23. We moved over here in Norwood in 1955
Okay, where do you
with my three children.
where do you currently live in town?
What's that?
What street do you live on now?
Summit Street.
Excellent. And what can you tell me about Norwood from your childhood here, or West Norwood at that time?
What do you remember about West Norwood from your childhood?
Oh, I remember, well, we were kids and had a lot of fun. But when we moved to West Norwood, our post office was in a private house and it was run by Mr. and Mrs. A brother and a sister. Moore was their last name. And the brother's name was Dinty Moore. And he used to bring the mail down to the station for the express train to pick up the mail. And one day he went down with the bag and he couldn't hear very well. And the express took him and the bag. And that was the end of that. Then they had the mail in the West Norwood station run by Kylie's.
Okay.
So, and then they decided to make West Norwood and Norwood to get all in one. And then we had our mail over in Norwood.
Do you remember what year that was approximately when they joined the two ends of Norwood?
What was that?
What year did they join Norwood with West Norwood? Do you remember?
Gee, I don't know. I have the book from 19. I have the book here if you would like to see it. There's a lot of information in it.
Okay. Excellent. And just to give everybody listening an idea, what year was it approximately when you moved here?
When I moved over here in Norwood,
Into Norwood.
Or West
So-
Norwood? Yeah.
If she was 7 years old, it would have been
1916.
No, that's when you were born. So 1923.
Yes, 1923.
Yeah.
And we
Wow, okay.
moved over Norwood 1955.
Mhm.
Okay. Tell me about Norwood during your childhood, or West Norwood. What did the kids do around here?
Oh, we had a lot of fun playing all kinds of games and nothing really exciting.
What'd you do?
We were all good kids.
What'd you do? Where'd you
Okay.
play?
We played in front of my house, boys and girls. We played all soccer and baseball and all that because it was a dirt street,
Okay.
no
Okay.
cars.
Okay.
Right
I've
now,
heard some-
right now it's Sutton Place.
Okay. Did you guys go into the woods or anything back then, or?
Oh, yes, my boys enjoyed fishing at night. Stanley can tell you that.
Fishing, where did that take place? Maybe pan over to him for a second. Where did
Where'd
we
you go
fish?
fish?
In our backyard.
There was a nice brook behind our house, and suckers used to come up from the reservoir to spawn at night. And there was also trout in that stream. And when during the summertime, if there was a big storm, we would get in our inner tubes and go 3 blocks up, get in the river or the brook, and fly down the river in our little
Oh, wow.
our little inner tubes that cars used to have in them.
Okay. Where's the river now, or what?
It's every time I go by, it comes down through Northville, underneath
Uh-huh.
Broadway, underneath the railroad tracks, Broad Avenue, and then down through Blanche Avenue, and eventually down into Harrington Park.
Okay, okay.
Years ago, I don't know if you're familiar with watercress. It's
No, I don't.
It's a very peppery ingredient.
Oh, the
It
ingredient.
grows
Okay,
in
I thought
it
that was
grows
a
in
neighborhood or
water,
something.
you
Yep.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, watercress used to grow in that stream behind our house.
Okay.
Of course, we didn't know what it was at the time. And again, we used to catch trout, and again, the suckers during the springtime.
Okay. Okay.
And then further down into Harrington Park, there was farmers, Eric from, I think they're from Harrington Park. They had a very large cornfield down there.
Mhm.
And we used to go down there and during hunting season, and there was quite a few pheasant around that area. Not as many deer back then as there is now. And
I've heard that. Yeah.
we used to go deer hunt, but mostly on the western part of Norwood, up on the East Hill, they call it.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
Have you ever
Yes.
heard that term, East Hill?
me?
Yeah.
I actually, in the first interview on this series, I heard an alternate term for it, Cornflake Hill, when it first started. Are you guys familiar with that
Yep.
term?
Yes, that's what it was. When the people bought those houses, they had to eat cornflakes because they couldn't afford the mortgage.
Okay.
All right, you just fleshed out my understanding a little better. That's excellent. What year was that when the houses started to get developed there?
I believe it was in the late 50s, 58,
Okay.
Wasn't,
East Hill.
East Hill.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I think it was like the late 58 or something like that.
Okay, okay. Question for the floor. Tell me about the Norwood during that period, the 50s, when you first moved to the Summit Street area.
It was nice. I mean, we had a lot more fun living over in West Norwood because there was railroad trains there, and well, we had a lot of fun with it, playing around the tracks and everything.
Huh.
And it was a lot more
More kids.
while it was open to the things that we like to do. In Summit Street, it's very populated and everything, so we couldn't shoot our shotguns or anything like that. We all had, as soon as we turned 16, we all bought shotguns to go hunting.
Okay. Yeah, Barry Scott brought me up to speed on that a little bit during his interview a few months back.
Oh, yeah, I was good friends with his brother, Brian.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Which one's older?
Barry's the oldest. Then there was another one, Bruce. He passed away quite a few years ago. And then Brian.
Okay, okay.
Brian's my age. He's 77. He lives out in the Midwest someplace.
Oh, okay. What's the biggest thing any of you caught hunting down here in Norwood?
Oh, we got deer. We used to get deer, and
Okay.
well, we got deer. Let's just put it that way. But the venison, the way if you cook it right, it tastes very good. I mean, between the ribs and the loin,
Ooh,
and then most of the other part we used to make stew out of. You know, like they call it, the Italians call it ragu.
okay,
like
okay.
stew.
What is the Straub background? Speaking of which, as far as ethnicity, or where did the family immigrate from?
My mother was from Norway. My father was from Germany.
Okay, okay. When did they come over? Was Norwood the first stop, or was there another place first?
He said you know that.
Oh, you said Dumont, I believe. Actually, was
Yeah.
that the first stop?
was born in Dumont.
Yes, we said that. Hold on.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
There she
Yes,
is.
she said, yes, she was born in Dumont, but he asked what your background was. So you're from Norway. Your family's Norwegian.
Yeah, they were born in Norway.
Yeah.
Okay,
so-
I'm sorry.
Yes, the Straub, this Straub family is Norwegian and German.
Right.
Okay, okay, excellent.
Good
So what Since we're back on you, I started asking about your childhood and what the kids did. What did the adults do in Norwood back when you moved here?
What did adults do when you were,
No, my mother and father.
did your mother work? Did your father
No,
work?
my mother stayed home. My father had a good job for the railroad to New York Central.
Were there a lot of people in town that worked for the railroads?
No, he was the only, he was he did something with the cargo boats on the Hudson River. He
Okay.
taught the guys how to make the big part of the boat.
Okay.
Of course, he was from Norway. That's what he did over there. And when he came
Okay.
over,
Shipping. Yeah. What would you say was were there a lot of people that did what kind of profession or job?
most of the people that came over here,
Or
like,
that lived in Norwood at that time? What was the main job that like the men did? Because we know like
Blue-collar workers.
blue collar worker. Yeah, we know that.
yeah, yes. And then,
Okay.
Moshe, he had his business here, Ironworks. And who else came over here and had, most of the foreigners that came over had their own business. It was a couple in Norwood.
Individual businesses.
Yeah.
There wasn't like one major industry that people did.
Well, we had Abbott Ironworks that was over by well, they call it Sutton Place now, but it used to be Bellin Place.
Okay.
And they fabricated a lot of steel. But most of the people that lived in town were plumbers, carpenters, couple bricklayers, and normally a lot of them didn't travel into the city to work. They worked around here,
Okay.
their own business and everything.
Sheffield Farm was over. Remember Sheffield
Yeah.
Farm?
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we had Sheffield Farm right by our house. And
What's that?
they got the milk from
Okay.
Cows.
the railroad.
Oh.
Anyway, they delivered the milk in a big, what do you call the big trains?
Cargo.
The
train.
freight train.
Trains.
Freight trains.
And the milk was delivered, they bottled the milk there. This is where the daycare center is now in over Norwood.
Okay.
And they bottled the milk and it was delivered with a horse and a wagon. And finally, thank God, they got rid of the horses because we had about 20 horses almost in the front of our house.
Oh, wow.
And then they used
That'd be a sight.
Yeah. A mess too, right?
yes.
Probably.
And that's where Sutton Place is now. And the ground is very fertilized.
So Sheffield Farms used to be where the Sutton Place of apartment development is now?
That's,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Excellent. So what about your teenage years in Norwood?
What did you do during your teenage years in Norwood when you were a teenager?
Well, nothing much, but after we got married, then we had a lot of good times. I was with the Falkenstein family most of my life.
Okay,
And,
okay. I know
we
that.
Card games every week and a lot of fun. That was the best of everything. And
Card
then
games.
Oh, yeah.
we would go to Atlantic City once a year with the fire company at their convention. And that was very interesting and fun. So we did mostly with the Falkenstein family.
Okay,
Now
okay.
I'm friends with the third generation because the two other generations are all gone. So now I'm friends with them.
Excellent. I interviewed the Falkensterns a few months ago.
Yeah.
For this. So,
He interviewed Doris.
Doris?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, yep.
Well, how you had to go to Pennsylvania?
Oh, no,
we
well,
did it.
just like we're doing now.
Oh,
I
why didn't you tell me?
could send the video to
I
Suzanne
can
here.
show it to her.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll show it to her.
Yeah, so yes,
Uh,
yes, she was a lot of fun, and I'm in touch with her too, and
Excellent.
Pat Falkenstein.
Okay, okay. Did the
And
card
Ru-
games with the
Ruth
Falkensterns?
Falkenstein- And you get a hold of Ruth Falkenstein. She knows more than any of us.
Okay,
Ruth.
I was
Yeah,
told you
she's
do.
She's married to Alan, that used to be a cop in Notapan.
Okay, okay. What was I going to ask you? The card games, with or without money?
What was that?
Did you gamble with money?
Oh, yes, and it was really exciting. If we lost, we were very unhappy.
Oh.
We played a quarter a game.
Okay.
Yeah. Not high stakes, but that is still one of her favorite pastimes, gambling.
That was Eleanor Falkenstein, Dorothy Falkenstein, and Mary Falkenstein.
Okay. They didn't tell me about the gambling. Hear that, Brian and Doris? You didn't tell me about the gambling.
She wasn't in on it.
Okay, okay. What about, so you were probably here during some of the world wars. Anything interesting as far as Norwood residents in the world wars?
Do you remember any interesting things about during the World Wars with Norwood? Was there anyone that went?
Oh,
to-
yeah, we had a few of our firemen, and the girls each one, we had picked of each one we want of the firemen that were in the service, and we
Okay.
would write to them and send them every, Christmas time and different times.
Oh, that's excellent. So that went on for World War I and II, or?
For both World War I and II?
No, I think it was two.
It was just two.
Okay, okay. So, and what was I gonna ask? You referred to the firemen, and my understanding is that your family was very involved with both the fire department and the ladies auxiliary?
Yes, our family is very involved with the fire department
Yeah.
and, sorry.
Yes, my
the
husband
ladies.
was chief. He was
Okay.
chief for 2 years, I think it is.
Mhm.
Excellent. When did the fire department get started here in town? My understanding is that it wasn't always here, and I know the Falkensteins are very involved with it as well.
When did it start?
Yeah, do you know when it started?
No, it was here when I moved here. That's
Okay, okay.
105 years ago.
Do you know?
No.
No.
Should be in that book there.
Yeah, do you have this 90th anniversary book, Paul?
Wish I did. I
Oh, well,
just-
we can loan it to you if you'd like it.
Excellent. If there's a way to
Yeah,
get
he
it,
would like it.
that'd be great.
Okay,
Or even
absolutely.
or even a scan copy. I know that, I know people would love to see that.
Okay,
So
We can
I
figure-
personally, I personally moved here in June of 2011, so I've got some ground to close here, and that's 95, so that would at least help close most of it.
okay, absolutely.
Who was it
But,
moved here?
He's only lived here since 2011, he said, so he would love to see that.
Oh.
Okay. you go.
Yep. Tell me about the auxiliary, the ladies auxiliary. What was that? What did that involve
well,
here?
We did a lot for the firemen. We had card parties and dances and different things to make money for them.
So
Okay,
it was like a booster kind of thing.
Yeah. And we had a lot of good times.
excellent. Tell me
And
about a
what-
highlight as
what
far
was
as the
What's
parties.
the purpose? Why was there a ladies auxiliary?
And then, the best part is we would go out to, the fire whistle blew at 2 and
Mhm.
3 o'clock in the morning. We had to get up and go down the firehouse and make coffee.
Okay,
It was just a few of the mothers that had grown children that we could leave. And the others that had little ones had to stay home.
okay.
So it was kind of rough getting up at, going out there and then having to get up in the morning to go to work.
Mhm.
So you had some of the coffee too before you left in the mornings, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would need some of the coffee by the end also, huh? When did the ladies auxiliary, I guess, cease functioning? I've heard about it from the
Hmm.
Norwood's history, but I'm told it's no longer around.
When did they stop?
Start?
No, stop. When did the ladies auxiliary end?
Oh.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
only about 15 left at about 30.
But when did they stop? Like 10 years ago?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
About 10
years
10
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
Shoot, did I run
There
them out
were-
of town? Tell me I didn't run them out of town.
No.
There you
No,
go.
there like she's shared, there were many families involved that, women from families involved that, unfortunately have passed and whatnot. The Falkensteins were very involved. The
Okay,
Bader family, Mrs. Bader was, right?
Yeah,
Mrs.
she
Bader?
was in the auxiliary too.
Yeah, and,
There's not much of a write-up about us in this book that I'm
no,
kind of peeved about.
well, tell us some of the most memorable stories from that, from the women's auxiliary, since we don't
What's
have the
the-
written history.
what's a memorable story from,
Um,
what's one of your favorite memories from doing that?
well, we enjoyed having all the activities we had for the firemen. Like we had the card parties and all that. That was a lot of fun.
They
And then the
also,
best part was marching in the parade.
there you go.
Okay, which parade?
Yes.
Memorial Day.
Every year Memorial Day parades.
Yeah.
I heard that used to be a very, very big thing in town, and I marched in a few of them when I was on the council. Tell me about the Memorial Day parades in Norwood throughout the years.
But
Tell them about the Memorial Day parades throughout the
I don't
years.
know if I should or not, but one of the firemen had a case of beer in one of the trucks.
Okay.
And we were very thirsty, so it came in handy.
That had to be a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, Memorial Day parades were very big, and I can just speak from my experience growing up in town. Like it was, and I'm 45.
Okay, I'm 42.
Yeah. Our school, the Norwood Public School band always performed. I'm not sure if they still do that, but that was like a point of pride for our school, and
The Boy Scouts, the
the
Cub
Boy
Scouts,
Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the fire,
Little League.
the fire department, the Little League, like all the
Oh,
the
wow.
sports and everything. It was big. It would start, I believe it started up on Blanche, kind of went
School.
down past the school, and then turned onto Summit, went down past the fire department, and then they would stop and do a memorial at the fire department,
Right,
briefly there. And then would continue down Broadway to Kennedy Field. And
right.
then there would be a bigger service right in front of Kennedy Field. And there might have even been a little service in front of the ambulance corps as well.
Legion.
And the Legion, because that was where the a lot of the veterans hung out, including
Right,
my
right.
father. And then there would be a big ceremony, often led by one of the Boquinos, if I recall correctly, at the field in Kennedy Field, and the band would play, and one of the students would play taps. I happened to be that person one year.
Oh, okay. What did you
Yeah.
play?
I played the trumpet, believe it or not, which is hilarious.
After would be better than me. I may have been the worst trumpet player in Jericho High School history, pretty sure.
Yep. So that was a big, a big moment for our family. Me playing taps at I don't even know that had to be 1989.
You have
Actually,
video?
no way.
Okay.
That's when I was in 8th grade.
I'll ask you again off camera.
Yeah. And then there would everyone would kind of hang out. They would make have a barbecue at the Legion, and also back at the firehouse, and anyone who was involved in the town service, like the firemen, the ambulance corps, the police department, would kind of just hang out for the day.
Okay, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
right.
But,
More questions oh, Dad, you have something to add?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Down on 4th of July.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, my brother was born on 4th of July, so that was always like a big thing too in town, was the 4th of July fireworks. I don't know
Oh, those are
if
great.
they still do them.
That's
Yeah.
been a great feature. When did those start? I believe I'd asked Jude Lamp when I interviewed her, and she wasn't actually sure. Just remember that they happened for a while. So
I mean, in the version that they're in now, I mean, I would say they started only in the early 2000s doing it the way
okay,
that
okay.
they. Dad, what do you think?
Well, I think they started a little before that, probably back in the early 90s, because there's a couple fancy, I live over on Sherwood by Barry Scott,
Right.
and there's one fella that used to he lived on a cul-de-sac, and he had a very large display of fireworks at his cul-de-sac.
Okay.
And it was getting a little out of hand. And so
They offered to do it for the town instead.
he offered to give, I believe, like $10,000 a
Mhm.
year for fireworks for the Parks Commission of Recreation. And then other stores shipped in. And
Okay.
it grew quite a bit.
Yeah.
They probably spend about, I would say, probably $30,000-$40,000 a year on fireworks. It's
Oh,
probably
wow.
the best way around.
Yeah.
Oh,
You've seen it, right, Paul? You've seen it?
Have you ever seen
Yeah,
them?
I definitely have. Yep. I've gone at least half the years I've been here, if not more. And it's
Yeah.
always great spectacle to behold. And hopefully they resume doing it, depending if the world allows by July. I know they took
Yeah.
last year off, which was unfortunate but necessary. So, what was I going to ask you? One topic that keeps coming up that Muriel might be able to speak to is prohibition. You remember anything about that era here in town?
Do you remember Prohibition? When-
Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember a lot of places in town.
What do you remember?
Tell us about it.
Well, they had it in their home.
Okay.
And I can't remember anything else.
Okay.
Oh, she's taking the code of silence now. I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Because what?
He said you're taking a code of silence, so you don't want to tell.
No.
Is there
No,
any-
I couldn't.
There are homes that had it,
Yeah.
even though they weren't supposed to. Okay.
Is there any
Yeah.
buildings now that were known prohibition houses or speakeasies or anything back then that are still standing that you remember?
Oh, years ago when where Jericho farm used to was, they bought it from I don't know the name, but he had acres of grapes growing there,
Mhm.
and he
Okay.
made delicious wine. And then there was a story about a tunnel underneath Tappan
Heard that
Road
one. Yep.
to the tracks, and I think they were delivering it to the freight trains that were going by. I'm not sure about that, but I remember about the grapes, so they were delicious.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Tell us about Derrick Farms. When did that
Oh,
get
they were
started?
the nicest people. And their mother and father I knew quite well. I was only a kid then. I used to go over there and talk to them. I couldn't understand much, but the old man, he was very nice and friendly.
What was his
and,
name? Do you remember?
I don't know. I can't remember the father's name now, but I know all the boys, and they are wonderful guys. The chief was good. The mayor was very good.
Who was the mayor
Oh,
back
of course, the mayor we have now is wonderful.
then? He's the one that introduced me to you a couple of years ago. So,
Right.
yep.
He is the one that introduced you to him. Which was the mayor and which was the chief? Frank
Frank was
was,
the chief and Gus was the mayor.
yeah.
And Larry Derrico, he was a councilman.
Right.
And then the one that mostly ran the stand up on Tappan Road was
Mhm.
Joey, or
Mhm.
the greenhouses. And
Okay.
his sister Anna, and then there was another one,
Marie.
Marie. And then, of course, Larry and Gus, they'd be walking around in the greenhouse and all.
Okay.
Very,
Okay.
very, very nice family. Very
That's actually a good
nice.
segue because the next thing I wanted to ask you guys about was the political scene throughout the Straub lifespan here in town.
Well, back in the 50s or 60s, this
Mhm.
town was mostly Democrat, where the blue collar work, construction work and everything.
Okay.
And then when Cornflake Hill took over,
Love that. I do.
the town, I think, is mostly Republican. It's been Republican for probably the last 8, maybe 10 years now.
Okay. Okay. I was going to ask you. I don't know if you know this term as well as I do, having grown up on Long Island. But when did Norwood become more bridge and tunnel, so to speak?
I know that term.
But
Bridge and tunnel. You
Oh.
mean, commuters into the city and not working
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did he want?
When did Norwood become more of a commuter to the city town? I mean, I would say that was in my lifetime.
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
Probably
in the 50s, we had 2 railroads come.
Yes.
in the
past railroads.
50s. Okay, well, I don't remember a lot of my my peers' families not working. I mean, their parents, some worked in the city, some worked locally. But I guess my dad's saying that
There's
My father.
the train,
there's two train, and we have the Erie and the New York Central, and they were both passenger.
they were
trains.
passenger trains back
Yes.
then. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting because they're not now.
Oh, I can see how they went.
Well, right now it's CXX, which years ago was New York Central, and
Right.
there was 2 lines going up. And there were passenger, and there was also an Erie Railroad that was on the other side by Livingston. or Railroad Avenue,
Mhm.
where it is, and that was also a passenger train.
Okay.
And that-
When did Railroad Avenue's line go into basically disuse? When did they stop using that?
Oh, right, that,
Probably in the 80s or 90s.
Okay,
which one?
okay.
The one on Railroad Avenue. They still used it up in the 80s. I remember, yeah, trains.
Oh, yeah, but I think they just went to Northville to drop off. There was a building up there that manufactured, I think, windows or something like that.
Okay,
Brought like material up or brought material, the windows out of there.
Mm.
But it was nothing like the New York Central, which was over in West Norwood.
Mm.
That runs through Broadway and Blanche down to Herndon Park in Northville.
okay. You guys have heard about that project going on now where they're trying to turn that into a greenway, like running in biking space, right?
Oh, no, I haven't heard that. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's been going on for a couple of years. When I was on the council, I was the liaison to the what they're calling the Northern Valley Greenway Project, and that continues now. They're trying to tune it up since they're not using it for
The
more,
one on Railroad Avenue.
yeah, the 5-6 towns along the Northern Valley along
Mhm.
the tracks have been coordinating on that for a couple of years now.
That's
Um,
great.
Seems like it would be a great thing, but last I heard they're wrangling back and forth with CSX. So
No.
if somebody that watches this will be able to bring us up to date, since I'm now out of the loop for the last month or two. So
Did you have anything else to say about the railroads or anything?
Well, it went down to Weehawken, and the people
Okay.
got off of Weehawken and went into the big station and took the ferry across to 42nd Street. And from 42nd Street, they took a trolley car up to Times Square,
okay,
Is that how Pop traveled to the city?
Hmm?
Is that how Pop traveled to the city?
No,
Yeah, he worked.
oh, yeah, no,
Yeah,
he-
he
well,
drove
mo-
it.
He drove in. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
he worked down Times Square for a newspaper.
Yeah.
He was a linotype operator
Yeah, that was my grandfather. He was a linotype operator
and a proofreader
for what?
for the a paper down in town, and what did I just say? Wall
Yep.
Street.
Yeah.
okay, excellent. Which paper was that? Would that be the Herald or the Times? Or Times is on 42nd, that area there. I don't know.
No, he worked for down Wall Street for one of the papers in Wall Street.
Not the Wall Street Journal, was it?
Maybe
remember
it was
that?
that.
Do you remember what newspaper Poppy worked for?
I thought he worked for Appeal Printing.
The
Appeal. They did
Yeah.
a lot of legal work.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and-
Maybe New York Law Journal.
Then he went over to New York to Wall Street
No.
and was a proofreader and
We're not sure
And-
what the paper was.
Okay, that's fair.
machine.
A printer, a linotype. You just
A
said it.
linotype.
Yeah, you just said it.
He was a linotype operator.
Cool.
Okay. One piece of history that always personally interests me, even though I was born right after it, was Vietnam. What do you remember about Norwood or its residents' involvement as far as during Vietnam? Whether it's students talking about it or people going?
You have to tell.
Vietnam. Do you remember anyone from Norwood being involved with Vietnam? Or maybe my dad can speak more about this one. Like,
Yeah, but
was there a lot of Norwood residents who were in the service and went to Vietnam, or was there any?
a lot of firemen were in the service,
Okay.
and then we had Camp Shanks up the street there. Where was that, Stanley?
That was in Tapan, Orangeburg, right?
Camp
Uh,
Shanks.
Most of the boys, when they were in high school,
Mhm.
if they weren't going to college, most of them right out of high school, like back in the 60s,
Yeah.
58, 60s, they joined the service to get it over with because Vietnam was not active at the time.
Okay.
So they figured, let's get the service over with because there still was a draft back then. And you've
It's
got
okay.
a funny picture now.
All right. Can you still see us?
Nope.
Okay, hold on.
No worries. There you are.
There we go. Go ahead.
So like I say, before Vietnam, a lot of guys did their 4 years, the Marines, Air
Mhm.
Force. Very few went into the Army, of course, it didn't have like a good education, where
Right.
the Air Force or the Navy. Myself, I was drafted in 65,
Okay.
which was right in the middle of Vietnam.
Where did you
So
serve?
I took an extra year to go to sign up to go to Germany. So I did 3 years rather than 2. And I
Okay.
spent 26 months in Germany. But there was a lot of guys that did go to Vietnam.
Mhm.
When I came out of the service in 68, a bunch of the guys, older men that were in like World War II, the Korean War, they got me to join the American Legion. And back then, in late 60s, 69, it was just 3 of us that joined the Legion because people that came back from Vietnam had a very bad taste in their mouth about
Right.
everything. And so I stayed with the Legion until like 1977.
Mhm.
And I left there for over 20 years because I had to join the National Guard for financial reasons.
Okay.
Being that the work was pretty bad, my occupation. So I joined the National Guard, and I found a very nice home. We had a very good bunch of guys that were all prior service and everything. And then I just rejoined the Legion about 4 years ago after being away for such a long time.
Okay. Tell me, that's a good topic to stay on. Tell me about the American Legion. How long has the chapter been set up here, to your knowledge?
I believe the one in Norwood started in the I'm not sure, but they built the building on Broadway there in the late 50s.
Okay.
And most of it was all volunteer work, guys that were in the trades, bricklayers, carpenters, electricians and all. And but now they have that tower in the backyard, which brings in quite a bit of money.
Right.
So
Right.
everything is independent now. Everything is catered out, no matter what, the lawns or, everything is,
It's
they're
paid for.
very financially well off.
Okay. And tell me about some of the stuff that they do for the town over the
They
years.
do a lot for the town. They probably donate every year about $50,000 to different organizations, the senior citizens, the library, the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Little League, the mayor and council, I believe even the fire department
Right.
gets money from them. They do divide it up very, very nice every year. This year was the first year that we didn't have like a party or anything to
Right.
ceremonies to give the money away because of the virus.
Right.
But every
Right.
other year, we always had to bring all these people in, had a luncheon and everything, and presented the checks to the different organizations.
Very nice facility downstairs, I might add to that point.
Yeah.
How many active members are in the American Legion right now?
Well, there's like 94, 95 dues paying members, but
Oh, wow.
if we get a monthly meeting, we'll probably get maybe 15 or 20 guys.
Okay.
A lot
Okay.
of people moved out of state, but they do pay their dues every year.
Okay.
But there's not as many young people involved as what it should be. I mean, the same thing when I went in, it was just 3 of us from Vietnam.
Right.
Now most of the guys the members there are all from Vietnam.
Is there members, to your knowledge, that ever say like Desert Storm or anything like that?
Yeah, very
More
few.
recent conflicts?
Yeah, very, very few.
Okay,
Again, they don't want to get involved, but
Right.
it's open to anyone that's right now. When Trump was president, he opened up the Legion to anyone that served their country. It doesn't have to be a war or anything like that.
Okay.
Like my brother served in the early 60s. It was no wartime, so he was not eligible to join the Legion. Now, being that they changed the bylaws, anyone that served their country and got out with an honorable discharge, they're eligible to join the Legion.
Okay. Okay.
And that was my big gripe back in the 70s. I'm standing up at a meeting and there was a commander from the state commander.
Mhm.
And we had World War II guy, we had a World War I guy, a couple of World War II guys, Korean guys, and it was just two of us from Vietnam at the time at the meeting. I says, look at this place. You got everyone eventually is going to die off. You got two Vietnam members here. Who's going to run this place? It should be opened up to anyone that served their country.
Right.
The VFW, if there's a war, then they can join the VFW. But at the time, they would say Congress would not pass that. And it took from 1977, when I brought this law up, or amendment, whatever, until I think like 3 years ago, when they finally passed that anyone can join the American Legion.
Yeah, I actually did not know that. It's surprising. I thought if you were in the armed forces, whether or not an active duty, that would be something you'd be able to join. So it's good to hear.
Now there was always cut off dates, like for
Okay.
Between World War II and the Korean War. Then they stopped it. Then they opened it up for the Vietnam. Then they stopped it. Then they opened it up for I think Grenada was before.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I remember that. Yeah.
But they did open up certain dates. Now, as long as you serve your country, you can join the Legion.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Was I going to ask you a potentially lighter topic? We'll see where this one goes. Norwood Notorious. Tell me some infamous stories from your times in Norwood here. I could open that to all three of you if you wish.
Okay. Infamous stories from Norwood.
Yes. Provided you want to say them on camera, no pressure. Might still be some residents that are involved, so.
Is there a funny story from Norwood you want to tell about?
No, but he never mentioned about me being a crossing guard.
Oh, yes,
Oh.
I'm sorry. She was a
Oh.
crossing guard for many years.
33 years.
At the high
And
school or Norwood Public School?
Nora Public School,
Yes. I
Okay,
enjoyed, what's that?
on Blanche Avenue and Summit, right on the corner down there by
Episcopal Church.
the Church of the Holy Communion.
okay,
I was
okay,
there.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I
So
was
you had
there
the one-
33 years and I enjoyed every bit of it. The children were wonderful, but some parents,
Well,
Well,
but it was very, I retired at 97 years old.
yep.
oh, wow, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Are
I've
there
got a-
any infamous stories that you guys want to know? No.
Give me the Norwood Notorious, as long as you're willing to say it on camera.
Any?
I don't know. I enjoyed every bit of it, especially the fire company. We had good times.
Yeah.
Okay. Did
No, I
the,
don't think anyone's willing to share any stories about Norwood Notorious. Sorry about that.
okay,
No,
no
but
pro-
it just mentioned that we did have West Norwood, and that was the nicest little town.
She's very concerned that West Norwood get its due because I feel like
But I'm happy that I'm not there now with all that traffic from Sutton Place.
Okay. So, well, here's the easier question. Speaking of West Norwood, give us favorite pizza in town, Mario's or Cousins? I'm going to create a war here with this
Oh.
probably, but
I don't
all
know.
right. Favorite pizza in town. My dad says
Mario's.
I'll say Cousins because I mean I haven't been here for a few years, but Cousins was my favorite. So
Okay.
we're a house divided here.
when did each of them get to town? I know, I mean, they're fixtures at this point than when I got here, but when did they both arrive?
Cousins early 90s, I would say.
Okay.
Late 80s, early 90s. Mario's late 90s, 2000. Yeah.
Okay. Since the camera's on you, make the argument for Cousins for everybody watching.
Oh, I mean, like as I have said, I haven't had it in a few years, but I don't
like
know.
chop right.
I like their sauce. It was always very good, and I love their salads. And I think I've never really had Mario's, so I can't compare. To be fair,
Oh, okay, okay.
nice
Make
guy.
make the
Nice
argument
guys
for
that-
Mario's.
What do you like about Mario's, Dad?
Nothing.
No, no, just
No
a
comment.
preference. Just a
Okay,
preference.
okay, that's fair, that's fair.
Yeah.
Best restaurant that's come and gone since in your lifetimes here.
Oh, Best Norwood restaurant that's come and gone.
Or unless your
Oh,
favorite one is still
Zinkies.
here, of course.
Oh, what's the one you just said?
Zinkies on Tappan Road
Oh,
Rainbow's End.
and Rainbow's End. It was, yeah.
Tell me about both of those.
Well, when when we moved to Norwood, West Norwood, it was Zinkies on the corner of Tappan Road. And I was very friendly with Emily. Her mother and father ran the restaurant.
What kind of
And,
restaurant was it?
what kind of food did they have?
What kind?
Yeah.
Well,
Just American.
yeah, American, yeah. They didn't specialize in anything, but it was very good. And
Okay.
it was nice because Emily would invite me to her place every afternoon, and we sat down in the restaurant, nobody there, and we got nice dinners.
Is that the one that was on the corner of Tappan and
Yeah.
Blanche?
Yes.
Okay, and that
that's
was
right,
like,
right near where I am now. I'm at Penn in Kensington, pretty much.
oh, okay.
Where is
He
it?
lives on Tappan in Kensington.
Oh,
Okay.
What
It was
the other?
Zinky, it was Zinky's when she was
Yeah,
younger,
I'm
but
just
it,
trying to
it
think.
was like several other things.
Yeah.
Stegman's?
yes.
No, I don't.
No,
think-
Stegman's
no,
was down.
that was
No,
down there.
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
confused.
then we never mentioned Joe's, the tavern down here where,
Oh, I've never heard of Joe's. Tell me about Joe's.
What was Joe?
oh,
What
they
year
were
was that?
two brothers, Joe and Frank. Yeah,
Hassenstein.
the Hassenstamp boys.
Okay.
And every Sunday, they sort of opened up the place for the mothers to come in with their kids while the husbands are in there playing shuffleboard.
Oh,
So we were invited, and the kids had a ball. They'd look for Sunday every week,
where was
Where
that
was-
located?
across from the firehouse.
Oh, where Jerry's is now.
Jerry's place now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jerry's, place, which has been many, many things
It used
also.
It's been 3 places just since I've been here, but Jerry's place
Yeah.
seems to be rock steady right now.
Yeah.
So,
And they're wonderful. The Jerry's are wonderful people.
yes, yes. What was the other restaurant that I think was mentioned across the room
That-
there?
What's the one that you
Oh,
said?
One on Tappan Road.
You said one. What did you say?
Years ago, Confetti's was up on Tappan Road.
Is it
Mm,
related to the one that's now in down by the water there?
In
Yeah.
Piermont, yes.
Yep.
They
It was
went
in
from-
Norwood?
Yeah.
They started off in Norwood on Tappan
wow.
Road.
I
And
came
then
too
they-
late. I
they
love that
moved-
place.
Yeah.
Then they went to Old Tappan,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then they went up to Piermont.
They're still there.
And, but they're still there, but with all the dining facilities being closed up they had like sidewalk dining during the summertime. I don't know.
Yep.
how they're
Yep.
doing
We
now.
actually
Yeah,
went
they're
there over the
still there. I
summer
ate
down in
once.
Piermont.
Yeah, they're still-
So that was one of the
Yeah.
few outings we've had in the last 11 months.
Yeah.
What
It was actually, it started out on Tappan Road a little bit close, like up from Derrickles a bit. It's now houses. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, it was like an actual, restaurant building, but now there's houses there.
so this was on
years
Japan
ago-
by where? Where was
Years
Confetti?
ago,
It
it used to be Severi's.
Oh, it used to be called
was
Severi.
Severi's on Tappan Road,
okay.
and then they
Okay.
took
It was just past, like if you're going up Tappan and you pass Rockland on the right, it was in between there and when you would hit Derrickles.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Give you some other random categories here. Best sports accomplishment of the local Norwood athletes from your recollection.
Sports accomplishments of the Norwood
A lot of
athletes.
trophies in Borough Hall. Nobody's really spoken about them yet in the other ones I've done.
Uh,
Oh,
I don't know.
I can't, what did he
Well,
say?
years ago, there was 5 Yankees that lived in town.
5 Yankees, you said.
5 Yankees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There was Thurman Munson.
Uh-huh.
How it happened, there was a real estate broker, Buddy Flood,
Mhm.
and he was related somehow to the Yankees. I don't think it was with Steinbrenner, but he would build houses over off of 14th Street where Thurman Munson lived. Then
Okay.
Gene Michaels lived over on off of Broadway on it was Munson, Michaels, Gullett, and there was 2 other players. I'm not sure who they were, but they all did live in Norwood at one time. And
Oh,
that
wow.
was
Okay.
through Buddy Flood.
So Norwood, so that means you're supposed to be a Yankees fan if you're from Norwood then or live here. It sounds
Yep.
like.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still grappling with that, and I married a woman from the Bronx because I grew up on Long Island as a child of a old school Brooklyn Dodgers fan that was tired of the Yankees beating them up, so I had to be a Mets fan. Birthright.
Yeah.
What about political highlights? Different individuals or laws or what have you. What stands out from the political scene during everybody's lifetime here?
What about when your brother was small? We had the.
Oh, there was I mean, I don't know if it's political, but Governor Tom Kane, when we were little, flew into town for some reason and they landed a helicopter at Kennedy Field, and we actually have a picture of my brother shaking his hand. That was like a big highlight.
I think that was the
in town.
75th
Oh, wow.
anniversary.
Yeah, I think it was, my dad's saying it was the 75th anniversary of the town. So the governor flew in and they landed the helicopter, and I mean, that was a long time ago, but it was a notable politically. I don't know. I know my family has always been very fond of the Derricks when they were serving our
Right.
town, and very, we all very much care for and appreciate Mayor Barca now. So
Did any Straubs run for office in town?
no, I don't think we've ever had any Straubs in office here. Nope.
Okay, I know John was on zoning. Was anybody else on appointments, appointed to office?
No,
from Straub?
no, he was the only one that was involved with that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should note that I'm on there now as of the last 2 months.
Awesome. Congratulations.
They already canceled this month's meeting, so we're off to a slow start, but
Yeah.
just the same. What are some names that stand out throughout Norwood history? Maybe individual people or that you'd be willing to speak about on camera, or families. You mentioned the Falkensterns and the Derricks already. You guys obviously ring out. Who else?
Mike Walter Jones, what was he, a senator?
Yeah,
You were friends with his wife.
Alice, yes.
Tell me about that.
What was his name?
Tell me about the
Wa-
Jones family.
Walter Jones.
Walter Jones.
Yes.
Well, he wants to know about the Jones family. What can you tell him?
Oh, Alice, and she and I went to school together, the same class and all. And she lived on Blanche Avenue,
Mhm.
and I lived over in West Norwood on the other side of the track. And I used to walk every morning to stop to pick her up because she was afraid to walk to school alone. So I helped her. And we used to do a lot of things together after school. We had fun. And we took dancing lessons
Oh.
and piano lessons. Didn't get us anyplace. But
But you're saying Walter Jones was a senator? Is that what you said?
yeah, yes. And
Okay.
they lived on Summit Street, and then they bought this big house on Tappan Road. I guess you know
Right.
where that is. Yeah. And they
Yep,
were there
yep.
until she belonged to the same church I did, the Church of the Holy Communion.
Mhm.
And we were confirmed and together, and all the things in the church we
Did together.
yeah, we took a part in. And then after she got married, we went different ways. But we used to visit her every Sunday when Eleanor Falkenstern and I, after church, we would go and visit her. She was very, very sick.
Mm.
And she was happy to see us. So that's the last time I saw her.
Any other notable, important Norwoodians that he should interview?
Yeah, he knew it one.
We got a lot of names. I mean, our family is the closest with the Falkensterns, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. No, nobody else really that I can think
Not-
of. Yeah.
Okay.
Who else do you have? Who else do you have slated to interview?
Slated to interview. Well, I am working on a Derricks right now. That's a sneak preview for anyone listening, depending when this airs. And also
Which
working
Derricks?
on former
Which-
Councilman Frank Marino as well. So we're trying to find a date.
Okay.
So, and I know I'm also, maybe I didn't ask about that fits into other topics you'd want to share with us about
Sorry.
Norwood's history or your history in Norwood.
No. I don't know.
Was he gonna make a yearbook or something?
No, he's making a video. This
Oh.
is going to be, you're going to edit this, right, Paul?
What's that?
You're gonna be
I do have
editing-
somebody editing this for anything that maybe.
Yes, we'll talk about that, but no, it's going to be a video. It's going to be, can you see my, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
nice
Yeah.
talking to you.
yeah.
Likewise, thank you guys for taking the time. The name is legendary in town, notably for this lady right here. So I'm glad we had the chance to get you on camera for a few minutes. So
I can't hear a
He
word.
said, thank you.
Oh, it was nice meeting you.
And
Oh.
Years ago, I
Likewise.
knew all the councilmen, but now I don't know who's on.
I'm retired now.
My favorite best friend is still on, Barry, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Barry's retired now too. Him and I ended at the same time.
What'd he say?
Barry's not on the council anymore.
So, oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He decided not to run again. So
I'll si- When the senior citizen starts up again, maybe he'll come back.
Yep.
He was our best member.
I would have him on there for as long as he wanted to be on there, but he decided not to run this time.
All right,
But,
well,
Thank you guys again, and I do hope you enjoy the final product when it's out. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
coordinating this.